What if I told you that the difference between where you are right now and where you want to be financially is not a better job, not a bigger salary, not a lucky break? What if the difference is one day? Specifically, what you do with 6 hours every Sunday. Because rich people figured something out about Sunday that most people never do. And it is not what you think. It is not waking up at 4 a.m. It is not cold plunges or green juice or motivational journaling. It is 12 specific, deliberate, completely unsexy things that quietly build wealth while everyone else is recovering from Saturday. By the time this video is done, you are going to have a complete Sunday blueprint that the wealthiest people in the world use every single week. And you can start this Sunday. My name is Cynthia, and this is the Wealth Rule. Let me paint you 2 pictures. Same Sunday morning, same city, same time, 9 a.m. Person 1, let's call them Drew, wakes up tired from Saturday night, checks their phone immediately, scrolls for 40 minutes, orders food delivery because there is nothing in the house, watches whatever is recommended on the streaming service, feels vaguely anxious about Monday but does nothing about it. By Sunday evening, Drew is stressed, unprepared, and no further forward financially than last Sunday, or the Sunday before that, or the one before that. Person 2, let's call them Morgan, wakes up at the same time, does 12 specific things between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m., 6 hours, things that are not dramatic or cinematic or Instagram-worthy, things that look almost unremarkable from the outside. But Morgan has done these 12 things every single Sunday for 3 years. And the result? Morgan has $89,000 invested, 2 income streams outside a regular job, a financial plan that is working, a Monday morning that does not feel like a threat. Drew has $1,200 in savings and a growing sense that something is fundamentally wrong with the picture, but cannot quite identify what. Same city, same income, same Sunday morning, 12 things. That is the entire difference. Let's go through every single one. Thing number 1. Morgan reviews last week's money before anything else. Not on Monday when the week is already moving. Not whenever there is time. First thing Sunday morning before the day gets away. Morgan opens a simple notebook, not an app, not a complicated spreadsheet, a notebook, and spends 20 minutes answering 4 questions. How much came in this week? How much went out? Where did it go? Was that intentional or automatic? That last question is the most important one on the page. Because the difference between intentional spending and automatic spending is the difference between a financial plan and a financial leak. Automatic spending is spending that happens without a conscious decision. The subscription that renewed. The food delivery that felt necessary in the moment. The small purchase that seemed fine individually, but was one of 11 small purchases that week that collectively drained $200 you did not plan to spend. Drew does not review last week's money, ever. The bank statement exists. Drew has never read it with genuine attention. Morgan reviews every week, every Sunday, without exception. And in that 20-minute review, every single week, Morgan finds at least one thing. One leak. One automatic spend. One place where money went that was not intentional. Over 3 years of Sunday reviews, Morgan has redirected over $400 a month from automatic leaks to intentional investments. Not by earning more, by paying attention. 20 minutes. Every Sunday. That is where the entire financial picture starts to change. Thing number 2. Morgan checks and updates the financial plan. Rich people have a financial plan, not a vague idea of what they want their life to look like eventually. A specific, written, measurable plan with numbers and timelines and clear milestones. And they look at it every single week. Not because they are obsessive, because they understand something fundamental about goals and plans that most people never learn. A plan you write once and never look at is not a plan. It is a wish. A plan you review every week, that you measure your current position against, that you adjust when life changes, that you use as a compass every time a financial decision comes up, that is a living document that actually directs behavior. Morgan's financial plan has 5 sections. current net worth, updated monthly, savings rate, percentage of income going to savings right now, investment contributions, what is going in, where and when, debt paydown timeline, if any debt exists, the exact date it will be gone, income goals, the next income milestone and the specific steps to reach it. Every Sunday, Morgan spends 15 minutes with this document, not rewriting it, just checking in. Where am I against where I plan to be? Is anything off track? Does anything need adjusting? This weekly check-in is what keeps the plan alive. What turns intention into action? What makes the difference between a financial goal that gets reached and one that stays a wish forever? Drew has thought about making a financial plan many times, has never written one down. Morgan has had the same plan, updated, adjusted, alive for 3 years. The plan is not the magic. The weekly relationship with the plan is the magic. Thing number 3. Morgan invests before Sunday is over. Every single Sunday, without exception, Morgan makes at least one investment action. Not necessarily a large one. Not necessarily a complicated one. Sometimes it is simply checking that the automatic investment contribution for the week processed correctly. Sometimes it is adding an extra $50 to the index fund because last week's review found an unexpected saving. Sometimes it is researching the next investment move, reading, learning, preparing. But something investment related happens every single Sunday. Here is why this matters more than it sounds. Consistency in investing is not just a financial strategy. It is a psychological one. Every Sunday that passes with an investment action reinforces the identity, I am someone who builds wealth. Every Sunday that passes without one quietly reinforces the opposite. Identity drives behavior far more powerfully than motivation does. Motivation comes and goes. Identity is stable. And every Sunday investment action, no matter how small, is a vote for the identity of someone who is building something real. Drew thinks about investing often, has several apps downloaded, has never made a contribution that lasted longer than 2 months before stopping when life got busy. Morgan has invested every single Sunday for 3 years. Some Sundays, $500. Some Sundays, $50. Never zero. The portfolio does not care about the motivation behind the contribution. It only compounds what it receives. And it has been receiving something every single Sunday for 3 years. Thing number 4. Morgan spends 1 hour on income growth. This is the thing that separates people who simply manage money well from people who build genuine wealth. Managing money well, spending less, saving more, investing consistently is essential. But it has a ceiling. You can only cut so much. You can only optimize so far. At some point, the only way to accelerate wealth building significantly is to grow the income that funds it. And Morgan dedicates 1 hour every Sunday specifically to income growth. Not working the main job, not doing admin. 1 hour specifically on the question, how do I earn more? Sometimes that hour is spent building the side business, writing content, developing a product, reaching out to a potential client. Sometimes it is spent learning a skill that will increase earning power. Sometimes it is spent researching a new income stream opportunity. Sometimes it is spent networking, sending one message to someone further along, maintaining one professional relationship that could open a door. 1 hour, every Sunday, specifically on income growth. Over 3 years, that is 156 hours invested specifically in growing income. And those 156 hours produced the side business generating $2,000 a month that Morgan now runs largely on autopilot. $2,000 a month from 156 hours of Sunday work across 3 years. That is the compounding of consistent effort over time. The same principle as compound interest, but applied to income instead of investments. Drew spends Sunday recovering from the week. Monday morning always arrives as a surprise. Morgan spends Sunday preparing for the next level. Monday morning always arrives as an opportunity. Thing number 5. Morgan meal preps for the entire week. We talked about this in a previous video, but it belongs on this list because it is one of the most financially and practically impactful things a person can do with 2 hours on a Sunday. Morgan cooks on Sunday, not elaborately, not for a food blog, practically. Enough food to cover lunches and dinners for the week. Batch cooked, portioned, ready to go. This single habit eliminates the 3 most expensive food behaviors that drain ordinary people's finances. The tired Tuesday DoorDash order because there is nothing in the house. Gone. The overpriced lunch grabbed near the office because there was no time to prep. Gone. The Friday evening takeaway because the week was exhausting and cooking feels impossible. Gone. Morgan spends $280 a month on food total. Groceries plus the occasional intentional meal out. Drew spends approximately $680 a month on food. Groceries that get partially wasted plus constant food, delivery, plus daily lunch purchases, plus weekend eating out. The difference is $400 a month. $4,800 a year. Invested over 10 years at 7%, $66,000 from Sunday meal prep. But the financial saving is actually the secondary benefit. The primary benefit is decision elimination. When the food is already made, Morgan never faces the tired evening decision between cooking and ordering. The decision was made Sunday morning in a calm, rested state. By the time Tuesday evening arrives exhausted and hungry, the answer is already in the refrigerator. Rich people understand that decisions made in advance in calm, rational states are almost always better than decisions made in the moment under stress, hunger, or exhaustion. Meal prep is not a cooking habit. It is a decision-making habit, and it saves thousands. Thing number 6. Morgan does a complete digital and mental reset. This one sounds soft. It is not. Every Sunday, Morgan does something that most high performers and genuinely wealthy people do consistently and that almost nobody else does at all. A complete intentional reset. Phone on Do Not Disturb for a minimum of 2 hours. No social media. No news. No emails. No notifications. Complete disconnection from the reactive digital world. And in that space, Morgan thinks, not about anything specific, necessarily. Just thinks, reflects, processes the week that just passed, lets the mind wander without directing it, lets ideas surface that the constant noise of daily life buries before they can form completely. Here is why this matters financially. The best financial decisions, the ones that change trajectories, that open new directions, that solve problems that seemed unsolvable, almost never come from frantic research or anxious scrolling. They come from the quiet space where a rested mind can finally think clearly. Morgan has made 3 significant financial decisions in 3 years that came directly from this Sunday thinking time. One of them, the decision to start the side business, happened during a Sunday afternoon walk with the phone in the bag. An idea surfaced. Morgan wrote it down, developed it over subsequent Sundays. It now generates $2,000 a month. That idea was always there. The noise just never stopped long enough for it to be heard. Drew's phone is never more than arm's reach away. Sunday looks like every other day. Reactive, scrolling, consuming, never quite thinking deeply enough to hear the ideas underneath. The reset is not rest. It is preparation. It is clearing the cache so the system can run at full capacity for the week ahead. Thing number 7. Morgan reads for 30 minutes minimum. Not social media, not news headlines, not content designed to be consumed in 30-second increments. A book, specifically a book about money, business, investing, psychology, or biography of someone who built something remarkable. 30 minutes every Sunday. That is it. 30 minutes a week is 26 hours a year of deep focused reading on topics that directly improve financial decision-making. Most people read approximately 0 books about personal finance in their lifetime, not because they're not smart, Because nobody told them that every book about money is worth more in applied knowledge than most courses, seminars, or degrees specifically about finance. Morgan has read 36 books in 3 years of Sunday reading. Not speed read, not summarized, actually read and applied. And the return on those 36 books in terms of better decisions, higher income, avoided mistakes, and improved financial strategy is impossible to calculate precisely, but conservatively worth tens of thousands of dollars. Drew has thought about reading more for approximately 4 years, has 3 books on the nightstand that have not been opened. The gap between thinking about reading and actually reading is not discipline. It is a Sunday habit. Thing number 8. Morgan visualizes and plans the week ahead, specifically Sunday evening. After the reviews, the investment actions, the meal prep, the reading, and the reset, Morgan spends 30 minutes planning the specific week ahead, not in a vague, motivational way. Specifically, what are the 3 most important financial actions this week? What is the one income growth task that must happen? What spending decisions might come up and how will they be handled? What is the specific savings, transfer amount, and date? This planning session is not about motivation. It is about decision architecture, about making the important decisions in advance, before the week arrives with its noise and demands and unexpected complications, so that when those moments come, the decision is already made. Rich people make financial decisions in advance. Broke people make financial decisions in the moment. And in the moment, with stress, fatigue, social pressure, and instant gratification available everywhere, the wrong decision almost always wins. Morgan does not decide whether to save this week when payday arrives. The decision was made Sunday. The transfer is scheduled. It happens automatically, regardless of how the week felt. Morgan does not decide whether to invest this week when the market looks uncertain. The decision was made Sunday. The contribution goes in regardless. Morgan does not decide whether to work on the side business this week when Monday arrives exhausted. The specific task was identified Sunday. It is on the calendar. It happens. Decisions made in advance in calm states beat decisions made in the moment under pressure every single time. Plan Sunday. Win the week. Thing number 9. Morgan connects with one person who is further along. Every Sunday, not every day, not multiple times a week, just once every Sunday, Morgan sends one message, makes one call, has one conversation with someone who is further along financially than Morgan currently is. A mentor, a successful contact, a member of an investment group, a business owner Morgan respects, someone whose financial position represents where Morgan is trying to go. This habit sounds simple. The compounding effect of it over 3 years is extraordinary, because wealth is not built in isolation. It is built in proximity to people who have already figured out what you are trying to figure out. People who have already made the mistakes you are about to make. People who can compress your learning curve dramatically by sharing what they know. Every conversation Morgan has had with someone further along has been worth thousands, sometimes in specific advice that prevented an expensive mistake, sometimes in an introduction that opened a door, sometimes simply in the normalization of wealth building as an achievable thing rather than something that happens to other people. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Most people have heard this. Almost nobody acts on it intentionally. Morgan acts on it every single Sunday. One message, one conversation, one relationship maintained or built. Drew's closest financial conversations are with people at the same financial level, which means every conversation confirms the current financial reality rather than expanding it. You cannot think beyond your environment. Morgan is intentionally expanding the environment every single Sunday. Thing number 10. Morgan exercises. Stay with me. This is on a financial list for a very specific reason. Morgan exercises every Sunday, not because Morgan is a fitness fanatic, not for aesthetic reasons, for one very deliberate financial reason. Health is wealth, not as a slogan. as a mathematical reality. The average cost of a serious preventable health event, a heart attack, a type 2 diabetes diagnosis, a chronic condition developed through sedentary lifestyle, in terms of medical bills, lost work, reduced productivity, and long-term management costs, is between $50,000 and $200,000 over a lifetime. The cost of consistent exercise, a pair of trainers, and some time. But beyond the medical economics, and this is the part most people miss, physical exercise is the single most well-researched and consistently proven method of improving cognitive function, decision-making quality, stress management, and emotional regulation. The quality of your financial decisions is directly connected to the quality of your mental state, and your mental state is directly connected to how you treat your body. Morgan exercises Sunday morning, every single Sunday, and arrives at the financial review, the investment check, the planning session, and the income work with a brain that is operating at significantly higher capacity than it would otherwise be. The exercise is not separate from the financial strategy. It is part of it. Drew skips exercise most Sundays, means to start, has not yet. The financial cost of that skip is invisible in the short term and enormous in the long term. Thing number 11. Morgan reviews and adjusts all financial automations. Every month, on the first Sunday of the month specifically, Morgan does a complete review of every financial automation. The automatic savings transfer. Is the amount still appropriate, or should it increase now that income has grown? The automatic investment contribution. Is it going to the right place? Is the allocation still aligned with the current financial plan? The automatic bill payments. Are there any that should be canceled, reduced, or renegotiated? The automatic subscriptions. Has anything crept in that is not being used? This monthly automation review takes approximately 30 minutes, and it is one of the highest return 30-minute activities that exists in personal finance, because automation is extraordinarily powerful when it is set up correctly, and extraordinarily leaky when it is not reviewed. Morgan's financial automations have been reviewed and adjusted 11 times in the past year. Each review found something: a subscription to cancel, a savings rate to increase after a raise, an investment allocation to adjust, a bill to renegotiate, each adjustment small individually. Collectively, they have redirected over $300 a month from waste to wealth building. Drew has automations set up from 2 years ago that have never been reviewed. 2 of them are paying for services Drew does not remember signing up for. One of them is a savings transfer that has not increased despite 2 promotions. The automations are working. They're just working for the wrong things. Review them every first Sunday of the month. 30 minutes. The return on that 30 minutes is thousands of dollars annually. Thing number 12. Morgan protects Sunday deliberately and without apology. This is the final thing, and it might be the most important one of all. Because here is the challenge with everything on this list. None of it happens if Sunday gets swallowed by everything else. And Sunday will try to get swallowed by social obligations, by family demands, by the exhaustion of the week that just ended, by the friend who wants to brunch for 4 hours, by the family member who needs something, by the feeling that rest means doing nothing productive at all, and that any financial work on a Sunday is somehow stealing rest time that the week has earned. Morgan protects Sunday, deliberately, consistently, without apology. Not the entire day, not every hour, 6 hours, a specific block, usually morning to early afternoon, that is treated as non-negotiable financial time. This does not mean Morgan does not enjoy Sunday. Morgan absolutely enjoys Sunday. The afternoons are relaxed. The evenings are social. The day has genuine rest in it. But the morning block, the 6 hours that contain the review, the plan, the investment action, the income work, the reading, the reset, and the preparation. That block is protected. It is in the calendar. It is expected by the people in Morgan's life. It is non-negotiable. Because here is what Morgan understands that Drew does not. Every Sunday that passes without these 12 things is a Sunday that the financial gap between them widens. Not dramatically, not visibly, but consistently, compoundingly, and compound effects, whether financial or behavioral, eventually produce results that look sudden from the outside but were built quietly, consistently, one Sunday at a time on the inside. Drew's Sundays belong to everyone and everything, which means they belong to no future in particular. Morgan's Sundays belong to the future Morgan is building, every single week. Now, let me show you the full picture. Morgan does 12 things every Sunday, some weeks perfectly, some weeks 5 out of 12, but consistently, week after week for 3 years. The Financial Review found $400 a month in redirected leaks. The investment habit built $89,000 in 3 years. The income hour built a $2,000 monthly side income stream. The meal prep saved $400 a month, $14,400 over 3 years. The reading produced better decisions worth tens of thousands. The weekly planning eliminated expensive in-the-moment decisions. The networking opened doors that generated thousands in new income. The automation review redirected $300 a month from waste to wealth. Total monthly difference between Morgan and Drew from 12 Sunday habits? Approximately $1,100 a month redirected, earned, or saved. $1,100 a month invested at 7% over 25 years. $898,000. Nearly $1 million. From what you do between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Sundays. Now I want to speak directly to you before you go. You do not have to do all 12 this Sunday. If you try to implement everything at once, by next week the overwhelm will be real and most of it will not stick. Pick 3. The 3 on this list that feel most immediately powerful for where you are right now. The 3 you can genuinely do this Sunday, not eventually, not when life calms down, this Sunday. Write them down right now, before this video ends, not later, now, because the gap between watching a video like this and doing something with it is where most people live permanently. They watch, they feel inspired, they close the app, Monday arrives. Nothing changed. Do not be that person this Sunday. Pick 3. Do them. Then add 3 more. And 6 months from now, when your financial picture starts to look different, when the investments are growing, when the side income is building, when anxiety about Monday morning starts to fade, you will be able to point to one Sunday. The Sunday you decided that 6 hours of your week was worth more than you had been giving it. That Sunday can be this Sunday. My name is Cynthia, and this is the Wealth Rule. Drop a comment right now and tell me, which 3 of these 12 are you doing this Sunday? I read every single comment, and I genuinely want to know. And if you know someone whose Sundays are currently belonging to everyone except their own future, share this video with them right now. I'll see you in the next one.